Good morning, welcome to you all. I will make some opening comments on 2020. I'll pass over to Paul to go through the numbers, and then I will talk more about our future product strategy, leaving plenty of time for questions. So let me commence, if I may, with a brief overview of Tribal for those new to the Tribal story. We are a market-leading provider of student management systems to the higher and further education sectors in our key markets of UK, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, and also now in Singapore. And our core HE higher education product is called SITS. And it supports the full student life cycle from admissions to enrollment, exams, progression through to alumni. And the SMS, the student management system, is the most critical application in any institution, containing the core data relating to students and the courses. So for that reason, it is the stickiest software, and that drives our annual recurring revenue, a key performance indicator for us, which this year you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner there is up to £47.5 million, up 12% on last year. In the UK, we have around 65% of the university market, including world-leading institutions like the University of Oxford, UCL, King's College London, Warwick, Cardiff, and the list goes on. We are also a global provider of quality assurance and benchmarking services through our education services business, whose key markets are in the UK, the US, and the Middle East. And the pie chart to the right shows the revenue split between our two segments. So our vision as a business is firmly within the education sector, providing the expertise, the software, the services to support our customers' primary goals of being educators and delivering successful outcomes to their students. Our goal as a business is to be a pure play education technology, edtech, SaaS business with a global reach. This is a journey for us, a journey for our customers as they embrace digital innovation to improve the student experience, and we continue to invest in building next generation SaaS software. So we had a successful year in 2020 with a resilient financial performance despite having to reset our objectives early in the year to protect our business from the impact of COVID. But we took swift cost actions and moved the business to remote delivery. And this was successful not only in the professional services side of our software business, but also in the education services business, which had previously been very much an on-site, in-classroom delivery model. And we are expecting to continue the remote delivery model across the business, even as we come out of COVID, with its improved efficiency, less travel time, less cost, high utilization. A key factor also in our success for the year was that we continued to win new customers, as well as closing some major cloud migration deals. And that's key to our strategy of driving greater share of wallet from existing customers. We saw some slowdown in account management, the run rate of upgrades and purchase of smaller components. But the bigger picture was a recognition by customers that they need to drive greater efficiency, de-risk their complex legacy systems, and drive improved student experience through a digital transformation strategy. And we do see acceleration of customers' plans to embrace public cloud. We have continued to invest also in the next generation of SaaS solutions to address those challenges faced by universities. And in the year, we delivered our first true native cloud SaaS next generation product called Tribal Submissions. It relates specifically to the Australian market and was sold successfully to every customer in Australia, as well as into the further education sector in New South Wales. And this was a major milestone for us, validating the strategy that customers want software as a service solutions that they pay for as a regular operating expense through a yearly subscription. And it also validated our product development, that our teams can deliver high quality, robust, resilient, multi-tenanted cloud solutions. Then in December, we delivered our next module, Tribal Admissions. And this was our first version, which we shared with customers to drive early access and early adoption. And our next version is due in April. one that can be sold and adopted by our existing customers, and I'll come back to this later on. In terms of our wins in the year, we had a strong year for new wins, notwithstanding the challenges of COVID. In the first half of the year, we won 3 new full SITS customers: Kaplan, the Chartered Accountants of Australia and New Zealand, and Arden University. Then in the second half of the year, we closed 3 strategically important deals for us. University of Sydney and King's College London were the first customers in their respective regions to take their existing SITS on-premise solutions and migrate them into the Tribal cloud, managed by Tribal as a service. We also won the largest SITS deal we've ever done. That's a £17 million deal with Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. And that takes us into a new geography, our first customer in Singapore. We also sold standalone edge solutions. These are SaaS point solutions relating particularly to the recruitment of students and also to student well-being. And we sold those not only to higher education, but into a number of further education colleges as well. And we also saw progress with our further education sales with our student management system products. They're called EBS, a leading product in New Zealand, and we won 1 new customer in New Zealand, but also a number of further education colleges and a win at the University of Gibraltar. We also continue to see success with our apprenticeship product, where we continue to penetrate the higher education market, positioning our product as a solution to manage degree apprenticeships. And finally, in education services, we had a good year for bookings in successfully renewing all the contracts that came up for renewal in 2020. So let me pass over to Paul to talk through the financial performance.
Thank you, Mark. Talk through the financial numbers for 2020. So we had a good year, despite the significant backdrop of COVID-19. Some of the challenges are shown in our revenue, which was down 6% to 73 million on a constant currency basis. This was largely due to our education services business, particularly the school inspection side that we do in the Middle East, which was paused due to our schools being closed due to COVID and therefore unable to get on site. However, our EBITDA, our adjusted operating profit, was maintained at 14.9 million. This exceeded the market expectations that we had at the start of the pandemic when we released prior year results and about this time last year. We took quick and decisive action to cope with the pandemic. We introduced a 4-day week, which lasted for 3 months across May, June, and July. All travel stopped, and we saw savings in our property estate. We also, unrelated to COVID, reduced headcount. This was already pre-planned across certain areas, which resulted in an annualized saving of £2 million. Overall, this resulted in our 5th consecutive year of margin improvement since new management came in 2016. The margin has increased to 20% in a year, which is more than double the 2016 position of 9%. We'll continue to focus on some of the changes and efficiencies that have come about as a result of COVID, and we'll focus on being a remote delivery first business, reducing travel and helping improve utilization. Looking at our key performance indicators, and these are the key measures that we look at, I'll work from the top left. Our statutory profit after tax increased to 6.4 million, which is a significant improvement on last year, which was actually a 3 million loss. It did include the impact of a platform dispute provision that we had, but notwithstanding that, it's still a significant increase. Annual recurring revenue increased is our primary KPI and very much one that we are focused on as we move to becoming an EdTech SaaS-focused software company. The annual recurring revenue is what is committed at 31st December. So this figure is a forward-looking figure based on committed sales. It increased 12% to 47.5 million and shows a significant benefit that we are seeing with the Tribal Cloud and Tribal Edge sales, particularly those mentioned towards the end of last year. Our committed income increased significantly to 144 million, up 8%. This includes the ARR I just mentioned, but also implementation services for installing our software, and also the long-term contracts that we have in our education services business. The benefits of the deals closed in the second half of the year, particularly Nanyang Technological University, helped drive this increase. Our closing cash in the bottom left fell to 9.5 million. However, this does include a one-off payment of 8.1 million in final settlement of a dispute we had with a platform provider. And we also continue to invest significantly in our Tribal Edge software, with nearly £7 million invested in the year. Our cash conversion across the year, though, was excellent at 122%, which was an increase on last year, which was 105%. The improvement gave us confidence to reinstate the cancelled dividend from financial year 2019, and we paid this in December 2020. And for the year just finished, we are proposing a dividend of 1.2 million, which will be paid in July 2021. Looking in a bit more detail at the results by our segments, SIS revenues were impacted slightly, largely as a result of COVID, and fell 2% to 56.9 million. However, the profits improved significantly by 10% to 21 million. This was largely as a result of the efficiencies and the actions that we took earlier and will continue into this current year. This helped improve the margin to 37% from 33% in the previous year, and push the in-year ARR as part of the reported number to 74% in the year. Our education services business was impacted by COVID, as I mentioned, with revenues falling 18%. This was delays because we weren't able to do the school inspections in the Middle East, and also some delays to the surveys and benchmarking work, which has been pushed into 2021, not largely as a result of universities' capacity and distraction focusing on COVID. However, despite the significant drop in revenue, the margin has been maintained in education services at 21%, and this shows the benefits of the variable cost model that we have, which has mitigated the significant impact of the revenue drop on profit. We were able to maintain profit at a slightly reduced level of 3.4 million for the year. So I said annual recurring revenue is our key figure. This is the committed annual recurring revenue as at 31st of December. And this increased 12% to 47.5 million. We continue to see growth in existing solutions, which are up 3.1 million. And this shows the strength of SITS and our other products. But pleasingly, it was good to see very good growth in our new products and solutions. Tribal Cloud increased 25% to 8.1 million, with sales to University of Sydney and King's College London. And Tribal Edge was up 40%, starting to deliver on sales on our Edge investment. All 12 higher education customers in Australia have taken our Tribal Submissions solution, plus TAFE New South Wales in Australia. These sales of our new products are already generating $500,000 of ARR. Our cash for the year, as I mentioned before, showed strong cash conversion. Adjusting for the platform dispute, revised opening cash for the year was 8.4 million. And the strong cash conversion from trading helps increase that cash to 20.3 million for investing activities. We have invested 6.8 million in Tribal Edge in the year, and also made a 1.7 million payment, which was the first earn-out on the acquisition we made in 2019. And finally, as I mentioned before, we reinstated the dividend, which was a payment of 2.3 million in December. We closed the year at 9.5 million, all cash and no debt drawn. Our product development investment increased in the year. We've now invested 17.3 million in Tribal Edge. We've completed the admissions module, and version 1 has been released, with a second version to come very shortly in April. And we've completed the submissions module and sold. The investment is likely to increase to 10 million a year in 2021, and this will continue at similar levels into 2023. We've started to sell, as I mentioned, on Tribal Edge, and 13 customers have taken submissions in Australia, which has generated $500,000 of ARR on an investment that was just over 1 million. So a significant return already on that part of the investment. And we continue to invest in existing solutions, but in an efficient manner. You'll see in the dark blue bar from when 2017 expensed investment was 7.4 million against our profit. This has reduced significantly and continues to reduce, now at 4.2 million. We also invest a small amount in our dynamic solution, the CRM, which forms part of Edge solution, although this is expensed. And we will continue to drive efficiencies in this area, and we expect the expenses on existing solutions to continue to reduce as Edge modules are released and adopted. So to sum up, 2020 was a strong year for us and we showed great resilience, and we've started 2021 well. We expect to see sales momentum to continue across this year, particularly in the new offerings we have. And we will also continue to focus on efficiencies in the business, particularly in our drive to become a remote delivery first business. I'll pass back to Mark.
Thank you, Paul. I'd like to turn now to our strategy moving forward and start with a view of the education landscape as we see it and the challenges and opportunities. So from the university perspective, I think there are broadly sort of three areas where universities particularly face a number of challenges. COVID has brought these into sharp relief, and for most universities, it has been a realization that they can move quickly if they need to, and confirmation that most of or many of their systems and applications do need sort of updating. So from the competitive environment, universities need to run more like businesses. I think there's a recognition that whilst there may be more students, there's also more competition, particularly internationally, that the traditional sort of 3-year UK style degree is not the only way. Competition comes from universities internationally, and that they need to have a digital strategy that is going to engage students. Students want to be engaged more. Marketing to students, open days for students are opportunities for universities to find out more about students and influence their decision. Students want omni-channel involvement, not doing things on paper or not just one way. Many ways to access mobile phones, tablets, websites, agents' websites, integrated, connected systems. But also there's a recognition by universities that their systems are often legacy, they're often complex, they are not necessarily efficient. They were written often for sort of on-premise systems, access through client server. They're written very much for the university in mind rather than for the student. So for the university, it's about adopting and updating their IT strategy, their business strategy, adopting digital transformation strategies, and indeed embracing the public cloud. And for Tribal, we see from that more opportunity because the universities are adopting the technology and adopting it more swiftly than perhaps they had previously. It also is an opportunity for us to offer a broader product portfolio that involves wider products like student well-being or student recruitment. And it is also an opportunity for us to build out our Tribal cloud offering, which is managing what were previously on-premise solutions for customers in the public cloud and managed as a service offering for our customers. And the strategy in action is seen in two of our deals, particularly that we did this year. King's College London was a transition to the Tribal cloud. So this is an existing SITS customer who has moved their existing systems into the public cloud, a major transformation project for them. This is about the strategy of a greater share of wallet from that customer and incrementing our ARR from what would have been a support and maintenance stream that we get from the customer. With Nanyang Technological University, this was about the largest SITS deal we did, but it's not just SITS. It is about the university recognizing that need to provide a broader solution that engages students, provides a better experience for students. So on top of SITS, then the customer has chosen to take our support and well-being product, our marketing and recruitment product, a careers product from a partner, and indeed our mobile application for collaboration of students with the university. So it's having that broader product set that allows us to build out the larger deals. So that takes us to our strategy, which is really around 4 pillars. For our existing customers, our existing solution, it is about maintaining that market leading position and continuing to drive new customer sales with those existing products. And that is the significant part of our annual recurring revenue coming from the support and maintenance of our existing solutions. But it's about driving greater revenue through our tribal cloud. That's taking existing customers, managing them as a service in the cloud, the largest share of wallet, and it's a pathway for those customers to go to Tribal Edge. King's College London was the first such customer in the UK, and the University of Sydney previously was the first in the Asia Pacific region. But it's also about Tribal Edge, and Tribal Edge is selling new Tribal Edge products into our existing customer base, into new customer base, but it's also the ability to take those products as standalone products into new addressable markets in a way that we were not otherwise able to take the previous SITS on-premise application. So this opens up new markets to take our admissions product, our support and well-being product, and other future products we may acquire or we may build into global markets. It's also our 4th pillar, which is about mergers and acquisition, about expanding our SaaS offering, gaining further market share in through an acquisition strategy. And if we look at that in the context of our tribal ecosystem, so those segments are shown here. Historically, the student management system focuses on the university, and it's their needs to administer students and the academic model. And that's sort of shown in the center circle here. But digital innovation enables the engagement of students, greater engagement of students who expect more of the university. They demand a personalized journey, a more connected journey. So the overall market opportunity then sort of increases, whereby there are specific market or product segments in which a standalone SaaS solution can build on the core SMS functionality to address a wider student experience requirements. So these products, as I say, can be used to increase our addressable markets and move into different geographies. So we divide this into 4 quadrants. So that sort of student life cycle covers the 4 quadrants of the applications process. So that is the recruitment of students, the marketing to students, and the managing of the admissions process to students. It's in the top left. The top right is the administration of the student data, and of the academic model, the courses, the scheduling, the timetable, the curriculum management. It's all about supporting the students through their learning journey. So with our support and well-being products, learner management, their exchange programs, placements, and so on. And then the outcomes about the examination outcomes, digital credentialing, and their future careers and their status as an alumnus. So each of those 4 quadrants divides into these sort of product segments where Tribal will look to either build or acquire a solution which will provide a student experience beyond that which they get with the current existing solutions. Then the wider ecosystem will reach out to partnerships with other solution providers more broadly around the landscape of the university. So the top left segment, as I say, which is the application segment, that quadrant is the area in which our latest product set is now being offered this year. And we call that the student journey to yes. And the student journey to yes is about a complete end-to-end solutions for the university to market to students, to manage them through the open days, to encourage the students to apply to the university, and to manage their application and their admissions process through that whole part of the life cycle. So we call that the student journey to yes. And this is a critical part for universities. You know, top selective universities need to compete for international students. Less selective universities need to compete simply to fill all their places. And personalizing the student journey, understanding the students' decision drivers at an early stage, updating the student through each stage, using nudge technology to push matters forward, right through to at the end when the student accepts their offer, putting them in touch with other students who are going to be on their course. This experience the student has through this process really influences their choice of university. And the solution also looks at the journey from the university perspective. Great staff experience, intuitive systems, simpler processes, all reduce costs and increase the speed of processing applications. And built-in AI helps decision-making to ensure all courses are filled with the best students available to the university who are also likely to have the most successful outcomes. So this is a complete end-to-end SaaS solution that gives universities a solution that they don't have at the moment and provides them with a solution to the challenges that they face in terms of how they move to greater engagement for their students. And what we are finding is the student to yes narrative is resonating with our existing customers. We're actively talking to a number of existing customers to become early adopters. And we expect over the next 2 years or so to have a steady increase of customers signing up to our applicant management solutions. And in time, this solution will go beyond our existing customer base. We'll be able to position this as a front end to competitors' student management systems, where competitors' customers can adopt the latest technology and solution for the student journey to yes, but they don't need to swap out all of their existing student management system. And it also allows us to take this into these new addressable markets. As a standalone student journey to yes, we can take this solution into other geographies. Now, that's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to happen in 2021, but over the coming years, we will start taking this into our new geographies. A word about our environmental social governance program. This is a program we have been undertaking for actually a number of years, but this year we're more formalizing it, where we have 2 initiatives within each of these categories, as you'll see there. And we have, I think, a good story on our ESG progress. Moving to our remote delivery, we have managed to really drive down our overall carbon footprint. We're moving to paperless offices. We have driven diversity for a number of years, and we continue to really focus on diversity. And you may be aware that our board is also now more diverse. We have recruited a CFO, Diane McIntyre, who will be joining us early on in June. We also, in our social ESG, support a charity, particularly around student well-being, core to our customers, but also core to the solutions we can offer. And in the governance space also, we focus very much on ISO certification and internal system improvements. So overall, if we look at summary and outlook, our ARR continues to grow. It's been a good year for growing our annual recurring revenue, up by 12%. We see opportunities to expand our market opportunities, and we continue to deliver on our next generation products, and we see more and more customers coming on that journey, interested on that journey with us, either going directly to our student journey to yes, or potentially going into the tribal cloud as a first step onto the edge journey. But we have a strong pipeline of opportunities across both those existing customers and new customers. Overall, in 2021, we have seen a positive start to our trading position. So we feel confident about 2021.